So many people stay in situations that don't align anymore. We've been taught our whole lives to be careful because a bad decision could deprive us of something. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and we forget that we actually learn a lot from making mistakes. We tend to stay away from making decisions that appear high risk. In any decision we make, there really is nothing to lose. There really is only something to gain. When we are at a crossroads and we're trying to make a decision, our minds can go a little bit crazy, overanalyze everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? What if I do this? What will happen? How will it work out? But all that's doing is actually just trying to predict the future. We get so caught up in sort of thinking about the future that we almost freeze, and when we're at that crossroads, we end up not taking option A or option B. We just stay put, and we stay put out of fear. Truth is that option A or option B is a perfect choice. Why? Because they are just opportunities to learn, grow, and develop. To experience life in a new way, find out who you are and who you want to be. I want you to remember that finding out what you don't like is actually just as valuable as finding out what you do like. We can't expect our life to be linear, where we only engage in what we like. We need to be changing our attitude around making decisions, telling ourselves that we can handle whatever life throws at us, and just viewing everything as just an opportunity to develop. Life would be pretty boring if we didn't take risks, and working through any challenges in life from a risk that you've taken is actually just going to make you a stronger person. Obviously, don't want to be making decisions without awareness. We actually do want to be making decisions as much as possible from a heightened awareness. It will improve the chances of the outcome of the decision that we make to align with our wishes, values, and goals. How do we build that awareness so that we can make decisions that come from a place of heightened awareness? Firstly, we want to be adopting an attitude that any decision that we make is not a wrong decision. It's just a decision that is going to provide an opportunity to learn, grow, and develop further so that we can get closer to who we want to be in life. You do want to dedicate time in your day to figuring out what you do want out of life in order to find out what feels meaningful to you so you can establish your priorities. This is actually quite challenging, and it does require a little bit of soul searching. We've grown up conditioned to sort of do things that we think other people want us to do, or to fit into some sort of society box. Obviously, in today's world, there's a lot of options available, and it can be quite overwhelming. So it's really important to stay present as much as possible, setting goals that align with you in the present moment. At the end of the day, goals constantly change as you move through your life. So it's okay to be a little bit confused at times about who you want to be and what you want to do. It's really important to assess your goals in the present moment and ask yourself, does this still align? Does this still feel meaningful? Am I getting value from this? Truth is, you may have to trial and error different things to discover what works for you, what feels meaningful. We kind of work on autopilot every day, doing things that maybe once served us but maybe don't so much anymore. So it's really important to keep checking in and asking yourself, does this feel meaningful still? Or do I need to change something here? Remember, finding what you don't like is just as valuable as finding what you do like. When we come to a point in our life where we know we probably need to make a decision and it involves some change in our life, and there's obviously a bit of risk involved, usually that's money and time. We obviously do want to do some research. That's going to look very different for everyone. You can only plan to a certain point before you actually just need to take action, and you're just going to have to trust and learn through the experience from the decision that you make. You are going to get to a point where you're sort of going to have to rely on your body's impulses to finally make a decision. Don't be afraid to trust it. It's actually very, very good advice, because usually these impulses are coming from our subconscious mind, which knows you very, very well. Stop taking yourself so seriously. Lighten up. So what? Maybe you make a decision and it ends up being a complete fail, and maybe you lose some, but we really do need to bring our attitude to the silver lining and find what we do gain. So the saying, lose some, gain some, really does apply here. At the end of the day, when we lose something, we actually do really gain more. New opportunities are presented to us. We really are just students in this life. Every experience is a valuable lesson. Just more insight into what you like in life, what you don't like, and it's just going to help you get closer to who you want to be. So just make the most of it. Yes, if it's a complete fail, have a little cry, but eventually have a laugh about it. Once you have finally made a decision, let it go. Let go of any expectations of how it's meant to go or how it should be, because at the end of the day, we can't control the future. And if you try to control and have too many expectations, you really are just setting yourself up for disappointment. Be open-minded. Don't be fixed on how it should go, because if you do that, then you may close yourself off to opportunities that you had never thought were possible. Even adopt an attitude of being excited by the mysteries that might come up. Be excited by the idea that it might turn out way different than you could have ever imagined. Be open to it. Be responsible for the decision that you've made and give it 100%. Be committed to it. And if you get to a point where you feel like, yeah, this decision isn't working out the way that I want it to, then just change it. Every time we make changes in life, we kind of want to be walking away from this old version of ourselves, confident that that chapter is done, that we gave it our all and now it just no longer aligns. Remember, finding out what you don't like is just as valuable as finding out what you do like. No decision is a silly one or a stupid one. It's just an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. Don't take life too seriously. Life is meant to be enjoyed as much as possible. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what decisions you're thinking about making, or a decision that you've made that's turned out way different than you ever thought. I find that aspect the most probably interesting when we make decisions in life and they just turn out so much different than we ever thought. Take care, give yourself lots of love, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.